Hey guys, Christina here, and welcome to 2020. Doesn't that sound crazy? Can you believe it's 2020 already? Wow. So today I wanted to share the books we read last month, which was December 2019. We have 5 children between the ages of 3 and 12, and we homeschool, as well as some of us just really enjoy reading. So these are the books that we read and listened to last month. So it wasn't a very long school month for us. We ended up taking most of the month off. However, we did do one read aloud, which is His Indian Brother by Hazel Wilson. And this is part of the Good and the Beautiful library. And this went along with our story of the world that we were learning about. My kids really enjoyed this book. They found that it was a good mix of kind of adventure and interesting content, but it wasn't too advanced or too complicated for them. I felt like it had a lot of educational value in ways of surviving in the wilderness and of friendship and what that means. It's a story about a boy who goes with his father to build a cabin in order to prepare for the rest of his family to come, and he's left alone. I want to say he's 16. He's left alone while his father goes back to get the rest of his family, and he doesn't come back. He ends up being delayed a long time. And it's the story of his survival and a father and son First Nation who come through, and the son stays with him for a number of months and teaches him how to survive in the woods. So this was just a really good read. It is 140 pages. There's a little historical note at the end too. That's what it looks like. And it's a level 6 on their reading levels. So that was definitely a good read, and everyone really enjoyed that book. Then for our Audible, we finished listening to The Witch of Blackbird Pond, and I really enjoyed the book. Again, as I said last month, it started off a little slow, and some things I was kind of like, but I think it was a really good story of friendship, of kind of finding out who you are, and just what times were like, kind of back in that area of the US a while ago. I'm trying to remember what year it was. I can't remember what year, but it was just a good one. And again, that went along with our story of the world, and kind of the idea that some people were witches and such. But it doesn't talk a whole lot about that as far as like witchcraft, if that's what you're concerned about. So I really enjoyed it. The kids did too. Same thing, there were some parts they didn't like and other parts they liked. Everybody though, when we were done, said, is there a second part? Like, we wish that the author had written a second part because we did like it that much. So then, my oldest son, who is 12, read a ton of books over Christmas. He loves to read, and he pretty much read like a book a day for a while. So I asked him to write them down, so I'm just gonna go ahead and read them. So one was Sweep, which is by Jonathan Oxier, I believe. We read his other book, what's it called? Peter Nimble and His Fantastic Eyes, or we listened to it and really liked it, and my son has enjoyed reading a few of his other books, and he said Sweep was really good. Sad, but good. And he wrote down here, Magnus Chase and the Norse Gods, books 1, 2, and 3. Percy Jackson, Heroes of Olympus, books 1, 2, 3, and 4. And The Hidden Oracle, books 1, 2, and 3. So you can kind of get an idea. I believe they're all Rick Riordan, not sure though, but he's really into that kind of writing right now. Then my 10-year-old, he read a whole bunch of Pokemon, comic books. He had been reading the Christian Heroes, and he didn't finish the one that he had started. He found it wasn't as good as the other ones he'd read, so he's looking for some new ones to read for that. And then my 9-year-old, he read a whole bunch of the Magic Treehouse books, Pokemon, comic books, so many different books just that they picked up from the library. I didn't keep track of them. My 6-year-old has been going through this book, trying to read this one, which if you haven't seen, it's a mix of like pictures and words. And then again, the same one. She just loves this one. Every month I show it on Cherry Street. And she picked up a whole bunch of early readers, like probably 20 this month, that she likes to go through and read. So those are the kids. So then me. So I read Educated by Tara Westover. Oh boy, there's so much. I could make a whole video just on this book. It's a story of a girl who grew up with like survivalist parents in Idaho who really didn't have a formal education. She was homeschooled, but it was more, she worked in the family business, which was a junkyard or a scrapyard. And a lot of the struggles that she went through, she eventually went on to university and she went on to get a PhD. And it's her memoir, looking back at her life and her family and her experience. And I don't even know where to start with this. It was really interesting for me personally to read this book because she's only a year or two older or younger than me. Like, we're the same age. And so some of the world events and the happenings around the world that she's talking about, things like she talks about September 11th, and I remember that day so clearly. So it was really interesting for me in that way. Also, she grew up a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which people nickname Mormon, which I did too. And she went to Brigham Young University, which I did too, although I went to a different campus than her. And yet my experience was just so completely different. I mean, I went to the doctor, I was born in a hospital, I went to public school for most of my education. My experience of university was wonderful. It was quite different than her experience. It's just such a fascinating read, and I think there's always two sides to every story, but my gut says a lot of what she wrote is her story. That's her perception, that's what happened. Because I know there's been a lot of kind of back and forth on, is this real? I think it is. And it was so sad. It was very emotional to read different parts of it. And the idea that a child is being neglected and abused and nobody's helping. There's one part where she talks about she's being attacked in a grocery store parking lot and no one helps her. People look and no one helps her. So it was really sad, very interesting, and just again, so similar in certain ways, yet so different in other ways from my own life and upbringing. So really, really interesting. So then the next book is this one here, The Polygamous Daughter by Anna LeBaron. This is also a memoir. I'm about a third of the way through. Really fascinating. I'll share more next month, but wow. Yeah, I'll share more about that one. So that's it. Like I said, it was kind of a short month. I'm excited for January. We've got a number of readouts coming up. We just chose a brand new book to listen to as a family last night, and I'm excited for it. So let me know, what did you read last month? What are you reading right now? I love getting suggestions. Let me know what you're looking forward to reading in January the most in the comment section down below. And if you have any questions, I'll answer them there as well. Otherwise, I hope that this finds you having a great day and that you have a great 2020. Take care.